All right, watch this video for February 2nd. Trying to mix the music up a little bit. I think that's going to be a thing. I'm going to try to have a song starting every video. Respond to the tweet. Let me know if you know who it is. Anyway, that was it. All right, so the SPY today, pretty choppy, gap down, ends up looking really strong and kind of rolling over, a little bounce, and closing kind of weak. And again, you know, I'd like to visit the 20-day at least. I like seeing a little bit of weakness in the market because we really, really need it. This is just a straight up trajectory. And so hopefully, you know, a little bit of weakness, and then I think some of our setups will start working better. But the market needed to come in. So really, excuse me, in my opinion, hasn't come in enough. But here's what I'm watching tomorrow. RVLT, big volume day, and actually had a really big intraday move. I actually called this long when it was right under 4. I said, guys, I jumped on the mic, put the symbol in the room. I said, I like this one over 4. There wasn't a lot of volume yet. And it went through 4 pretty quickly and went to 475 before settling in at 419. That's enough volume to catch some attention as people scan for stocks tomorrow. Not surprising that from here, it breaks this high from, I don't know, a week ago. You know, rips through it and then ends up settling right there. You know, you see that a lot. So we're going to watch for maybe a red to green, something like that tomorrow. Harley Davidson HOG had a couple big red days and then settled in today. Put in a green day, meaning it closing above its open. This is the intraday. So really just a long range here. Back over 49-ish maybe, worth a long for a trade. We'll see. Depends on how it trades, how it opens and all that good stuff. IMMR was on watch, and it's still a chop fest. It's still red day, green day, red day, green day, and it's still in that range from, you know, below 9 to almost 1150. Here it is on 15-minute candles. So you can see it's just in a range, and a lot of times after a gap up, you get that, right? In the first couple of days, it forms a pretty clear range, which you have from here down to here. Yeah, we're kind of curling up, so I think this one might be worth watching tomorrow. QNST, big breakout today. I don't want to chase it, but we're going to see if we get maybe a red to green or something like that. Tomorrow, LTBR gapped up today, which took the wind out of the sails of the bounce play idea, and it's back down to support again. I am not at all in love with this chart, but it just goes... Whenever I have something on watch for a bounce, and I don't get the entry I'm looking for, it doesn't give me any kind of setup, so there's no trade in it, I'll throw it right back on watch the next day. RDFN, again, another example of it's been on bounce watch. It's basically sitting at all-time lows, really close to that. With 4 red days in a row, pretty good volume lately. I'm still looking for a bounce in this one. No trades in it today. GES, another one. That's a red day here and then a nasty red day here. Pretty good, well, I don't want to say pretty good support, but it did have a nice bounce from right below 15 today. And it's gotten there in a hurry. So this one goes on bounce watch. SXC, 4 red days in a row, nearing that 200 day. If this can get down at or below 10 maybe, you know, kind of flush the 200 day, might reverse back up, so we'll look for an intraday setup. And then lastly, I have ZN, which had a nice volume day and closed pretty strong. So we're going to look for, and let's see, the high back here was 269. The high today, 270. So it certainly looks good over this this range it's in. I like the volume today. We're going to watch for it. And back here in June and early July had a huge move. So that's another kind of characteristic I look for when I'm looking to, you know, possibly trade a stock is, does it ever break free, for lack of a better term? And this one absolutely did, and getting a little interest, so that makes it all the better for me to want to watch the next day for a trade. Real quick, I'm going to share, because I shared this with the people in chat today, TTWO, little trade I took in it, and actually it was a terrible trade, by the way. But when this thing started selling off, I told everybody in the chat room I like this under 120. But I didn't give a here's a trigger, here's a stop idea, because anytime you're buying something that's tanking, it's dangerous. I put a bid at 119.53, and the very next candle sucked it up and went right back up. And I'm embarrassed to say, anytime I get something that's on the way down, I'm always pretty quick to sell. And what a blunder. So this was like an embarrassing trade. I got filled at 53 and sold it barely over 120. I made $400 and something. But I think if I would have waited, and I only bought 500 shares, I think if I would have waited another 30 seconds, I probably would have made approximately $1,500 more or something like that, or at least another $1,000, because you can see what it did. Maybe not 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes. But anyway, I wanted to give the reason though. When something, and keep in mind, there's a caveat to this. I'm never going to do this if a biotech is tanking because some people died or something like that. But this is Take-Two Interactive, familiar with the company, right? Video game maker. And this is the daily chart. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see the resistance here. Gapped up to the 120 area, this horizontal line here, right? So gapped up to the 120. Kind of flirted with breaking it. Then this big cup and handle right at 120 again. So 120 was clear resistance. Then it even tried to break out back down again. And then it rips through it. And then today you had that news, right? So on an intraday basis, I told everybody, I like it under 120 for that reason. 120 used to be resistance. It might become support. Combine that with the fact that right between these two lines is where generally strong stocks bounce, between the 8 and the 20-day moving average. So you had two things working. You had a possible support line that it might flush below, take out the stops, and you had what we call the buy zone between the 8 and the 20-day. So that's why I threw my order out there. Kind of a dangerous trade because anything can happen. It could keep falling. I'm not a huge fan of bidding on the way down like that, but it felt like a really good area. And again, would have been a fantastic trade. I would have been bragging about it had I just held it for a couple more minutes. But anyway, so in short, as far as R goes, risk reward, it really wasn't a good trade, right? Because I was willing to lose about $1 on it per share, which means I was willing to lose about 500 on it, and I scalped it so bad. But anyway, I did want to share because I shared the idea for the entry with people, and the entry was brilliant. The exit was ridiculously stupid, but kind of an example of how I will play the rare, what we call downside shape bidding on one. So hopefully that makes sense. Whenever you look at this and see I got filled right here on a bottoming tail, that is kind of a good feeling. Again, my exit, super embarrassing, but I'll get another chance and I'll trade the next one better. All right, I'm going to leave it at that, and have a great night, and we'll just see everybody tomorrow.